So I don't even know how to actually start this video, so I'm just gonna jump into it. Woke up this morning, 4:45 in the morning, and my wife was getting ready to head off to work. And as she's walking out the door, right after she walks out the door, I look at my phone because as soon as I get up, I tend to say hi to my wife, send her out the door, and I look at my emails and see if there's text messages, get ready for work for the day, which I'm doing now at my desk. And I see a text message from my wife. She sent me an article, and she does this often. In our business, we have a digital branding agency. We work with building brands and work with a few celebrity clients. She is always looking at the landscape of social media, branding, and what's going on, keeping me up to date. She sends me this article, and the article says that basically Snapchat is adding porn to their platform. Now, I did a double take because I'm thinking, this can't be right. Snapchat's gonna add porn to their platform? Why would they do that? Now, here's the thing. I kind of dismissed it for about half a second, and at first, I was just gonna go back to bed. It's 4:45 in the morning. I usually don't get up till 6, and if it's a night like last night where I was working till 1:30 in the morning, and I didn't get to sleep until late, I'll sleep until maybe 7. Well, I couldn't go back to sleep because I just kept thinking about why are they doing this, and I was livid. And let me tell you why. It's not because I run a digital branding agency. It's not because I work with brands. It's because aside from that, I'm a father of a 14-year-old teenage daughter who's about to go into high school, who uses Snapchat all the time. I use Snapchat. We use Snapchat together as a family. We goof around with the little filters. It's fun. It's a good family time for us. Well, that was just ruined because as I'm reading this article, I can't go back to sleep. I've gotten 3 hours of sleep. I'm reading this article that says Snapchat is adding porn to their platform, and you can see it behind me. This is from an article from Cosmopolitan magazine. It's part of their app in their feed, and it's called Cosmo After Dark. And essentially what it is what I said, is pornography. It's advice on sex positions, sex playlists, everything to have multiple orgasms, all of this stuff. Completely explicit. Now, here's the problem. You may be saying, well, why does that matter? They can do what they want to do on their platform. Yes, they can. But here's the problem. There are over 300 million users on Snapchat. Of that 300 million, 71% are under the age of 34. I'm 34. 71% are under the age of 34. Of that 71%, another 45% of the 300 million are under the age are between 18 and 34. So if you do the math, that means that of the 300 million plus users on Snapchat, 26% are under the age of 18, which means they're likely between 13 and 17. But let's be realistic. There are 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds on Snapchat. Why? Because they can put in a fake birthday and there's no security to check it. And half the parents out there, you parents that might be watching this, you're not talking to your kids about social media. You don't monitor. I monitor my daughter's social media. I do random social media audits. We've caught her in situations before they became real bad situations, and we've had those talks. So we do that as a family very proactively. But many parents don't. In fact, most parents don't. So 26% of the 300 plus million users on Snapchat are under the age of 18. Most likely between the ages of 9 to 13. 15, 16 maybe at the older range. They're using Snapchat, and 70% of them are female. So let me break it down for you. Of 300 plus million, that's roughly 80 million teenagers, little kids, and under the age of 70, minors. 80 million minors using Snapchat, and they want to add porn. So if I sound like I'm extremely upset, I am. Porn is a cancer of our society, of our world. And here's the thing. Here's what makes it even worse. Let me put it in perspective for you in case you're arguing and saying, well, people can do what they want. Yes, they can. If you want to watch porn, do you, boo-boo. I don't know. Here's the problem. And let me be real transparent. I had a porn addiction as a kid. As a kid. And as a teenager. As a young adult male. I know what that's like. I know how detrimental it is. I know how it affects being a teenager. I know how to affect your perspective on relationships and your perspective on the world, your perspective as a man on how you treat women. Now, thankfully, by God's grace, that's not an issue anymore. But it took a lot of work and a lot of pain. So I don't care whether or not you agree with pornography or not. That's not the conversation. The conversation is it's not appropriate for 9 to 17-year-olds because it affects your outlook on the world. So the numbers, 80 million and 70% of them are female. Now, who is the primary target for sexual predators? Females. How many females have been sexually assaulted in their lifetime, especially as children? 3 out of 4? 1 out of 3? Whatever it is, it's a ridiculous number. So when you take an environment with 70% female, so you take 80, let's do the math. Let's do the math. So you got 80 million, and 70% of that. That's 56 million females, teenage girls. And then you're going to introduce porn. Who 99% of porn, consumption of porn, and that may be a little lower, but it doesn't matter, is predominantly male. So when you take basically a child's environment, Snapchat, and you introduce porn, you're putting bait, you're chumming the water for predators. What are we doing? Now, maybe it's the fact that Snapchat has seen a 56% decrease in their stock valuation in the last few years because everything they do, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, being the genius that he is, buying Instagram, has copied and done everything Instagram has done. Basically, everything you can do, we can do better. We can do everything better than you, is what Facebook has said to Snapchat. They've been losing money. They've lost billions of dollars, over $10 billion in the last few years. They're struggling. So maybe this is a last-ditch effort to try to gain back some revenue, to try to draw back users, but at the risk of the kids on the platform. I don't know, maybe it's because their CEO, Evan Spiegel, is 27 years old and maybe doesn't have kids, or maybe he does have kids, which will make it even worse. So the whole point of this video is to make you aware of what's happening. If you have kids, if you are a teenager, you want to let your kids use Snapchat? Whatever. Now you might say, well, there's safeguards. They won't show that content unless they have a birth date that shows they're over 18. How many teenagers are on Facebook, Instagram right now with the fake birth date? And as a parent, how would you know if you're not, unless you're having those conversations with your teenagers? I have my daughter's password and username for every social media platform. I know social media. I stay on top of it. I make sure I understand it better than she does so that I can stay aware of it. Why? Not because I don't trust her. I do. She has my trust and my wife's trust until she loses it. I do it because she's not aware of everything that's out there, all the risks. So it's my job to stay ahead of her and safeguard her and then teach her what the risks are. I don't shelter my daughter. My wife and I don't shelter our kids. We have 3 kids, 2 beautiful daughters, handsome little son. My daughters are 14 and 8. We don't shelter them. We prepare them for the reality of the world. So let me speak now directly, now that I've talked to you, directly to Evan Spiegel and his executive team who made this ridiculous decision. What are you doing? You have kids on the platform, Evan, and your team. It's a bad move. Not from that perspective, but as a brand. As a brand, Snapchat has attracted young users. The majority of them are under age 34. You know this better than I do. They're sending tweets. They're saying that you guys already had controversy when you first released the app for the fact that images disappeared in 24 hours and kids were sexting each other. And now you want to exacerbate the problem by introducing porn. What's the logic in that? What are your values? Mark Zuckerberg just revamped the Facebook algorithm, ticked a bunch of people off, but he didn't care because the value is let's make it about friends and family and show people the content they actually want to see to connect people. Now, maybe that's just publicity. It's just PR. It's brand messaging to keep the platform going so they can continue to get ad revenue. Maybe. But the fact is, they're not allowing porn. Now, they have their issues. I get spam friend requests all the time. But they've made the platform such that I can recognize it and I can report it and it gets deleted. And I get a request right away. Or I get a response from them right away that it's been deleted. Your platform is struggling because of decisions like this. This is a bad brand move. It's brand suicide. Your platform will be dead in the next couple of years if this is how you're going to play the game. You're prioritizing your valuation over your values. Porn and profits over people and propriety and purpose. It's a bad move. See, the problem with your brand, Evan, and who am I? What do I know? But I'll just tell you my perspective as a consumer. The problem with your brand, with your platform, although some things may be fun with it, the problem is that you cease to be innovative. You got beat by Facebook. You got beat by Instagram. They stole your technology, whatever the claims might be. I don't know. I'm not in that world with you. But it's a bad move. As a parent, not happy. I have to tell my daughter now, I may have to tell her to delete Snapchat, because now it's just one more risk in a world where now my daughter's not at risk by the traditional definition. She's not into drugs, she's not into all that stuff, but she's at risk because she's alive in America. She's alive in this world where there are risks and things like this. So if you're still watching this video, do me a favor. Like it, share it, comment on it. Now, not for likes, and I don't care about it. I really don't give a crap about that. But because Facebook's algorithm will see the engagement and they'll keep showing it to people. People need to know this. Share it. Go talk to your kids about their social media. Tell them you want their passwords to protect them, to keep them safe. If they say no, take their phone away. It's that simple. What are we doing? What are we doing? Where are the values? What's the mission statement? We're prioritizing the investors and stakeholders over the consumers who make the platform what it is. It's a bad move. It's a bad brand decision. This is not what social media is about. Social media is about people connecting, not creating an environment where you have 70% of young girls under the age of 18 and now you're putting bait for predators. What do you think is going to happen? Hopefully someone's got Chris Hansen on speed dial, because we might need his help.